Hello Year 2 students, lesson 64, and we are still looking at data. Data is a very important part of our maths learning. So let's have a quick recap of what we were asked to do last lesson, which is to do a make-believe pictograph, and I hope you had some fun doing that. You can see we've got an example here, and this was about favourite emojis. So we made up a picture graph and we asked an imaginary group of people which was their favourite emoji. And you can see that we categorised them in smiley faces, laughing faces, upside down faces and rainbows. We didn't have another, and that's okay. We had some statements from our imaginary data collection, and that was 20 people were asked what their favourite emoji was. The most popular emoji is the upside down face. And you might have a question about your data. I wonder why the rainbow emoji was only chosen by 3 people. So I hope you enjoyed making your make-believe pictograph and some statements and questions that follow that data collection. All right, so what do we need today? We'll need our learning book to capture all of that wonderful learning and your thinking caps on. Let's start with a warm-up, and that is a data collection one more time. Now remember, we look for categories, so I wonder what categories you can see from this collection of items. We're not asking a question, are we? We're just thinking about how we name and order some of this collection. So of course you might be able to see we could place it in colour. We could place it in how many shapes have 4 sides. So let's think about what we've got here. We've got 2 different shapes, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we've got all of those shapes we could collect that make 4 sides. It's a big collection, isn't it? 4 sides of the shape. What have we got left over? Well, we've got some round shapes. We've got some 3-sided shapes. We've got some 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 6-sided shapes. Did I hear that word hexagon? I thought I did. We've got some 6-sided shapes, and then we have, what shall I do with these? What shall I do with these shapes? And we might call these 3D objects or solids. Sometimes they've got different names, but they look very different, don't they, from our 2-dimensional shapes. Okay, so that's how we sort, classify and categorise data that we want to collect and describe. All right, so let's start thinking about what we have already learned. So big recap for us today. Let's have a think about, you've seen this before, we have been able to make lists, tables. Remember, tables have rows and they have columns. And we've been able to make pictographs. Okay, so big tick 3 times for all of you. We've covered all of that in our data lessons. So today's learning intention is to interpret and compare different data sets. And we know we can do this when we understand information from the data set helps us inform our decisions. So, data. Remember, data is information that can be very useful and it helps us make decisions. They're facts that can help us calculate, reason or plan, and data helps us answer questions. All right, sometimes data gives us further questions that we like to consider as well. So let's have a look at some statements and questions from these data sets. Interesting. Some of them look like data sets, don't they? And some of them you might think aren't. So let's have a further look at these examples. You might be familiar with this one. Here is a map of Australia and we can see some of the capital cities and where they are and what the weather is. And we can look at that in numbers and symbols. So let's look at Adelaide. In Adelaide, on this particular day, we have a minimum, the lowest temperature is 13. And the highest temperature is 19. These are in degrees Celsius. This is how we measure temperature. And a little symbol nearby that tells me there's some cloud, but there's also some sunshine. Okay, so that is some information, some data collected from the Weather Bureau that tells us what the weather will be like on that day. And you can see different places. You might know some people that live in these different places and what the weather will be like. Here's an interesting symbol. It's raining in Hobart, and we can see it's going to get quite cold, 5 degrees Celsius, and at the hottest part of the day, 17 degrees Celsius. You might like to have a look at that further because there's lots and lots of data, lots of statements you can make. A question I might have is, I wonder where the hottest part of Australia is, and I wonder if that happens each and every day, if there's a pattern. So sometimes we can look at lots of different sets to see if we can find a pattern. Okay. Now, a shopping list. That's what we do. We collect data, don't we? We have a look and think, what do I need? Let's have a look what I've got and let's have a think about what I need. And so I can make a nice list of things that I need. I can't see quantities here, but maybe somebody might write a packet of carrots or a half a kilo of broccoli. But we've just got some reminders here and a special little asterisk, don't forget the cat food, otherwise you've got a grumpy cat. All right. Alongside this shopping list, remember tax invoices or receipts offer us data too, don't they? They tell us what we've bought, how much it cost, and if we need to replace that or take it back, we've got a document that tells us what we bought, a data set. Okay, some questions about this data set? Well, I might look at it and think, this person who's buying something from the shops today is a very healthy person. I can't see too many lollies or things like that on that shopping list. So that's a lovely example of being healthy and making some good choices with our food selection. Now, have you been looking at this picture? Have you been thinking, that's a photo, it's not a data set? Well, it's actually giving us a lot of information, isn't it? This photo, I can see that we have a father and a mother. I can see that we've got 3 children in this family, and I can see that 2 of them are boys and 1 is a little girl. Okay, I've got some questions about this data set too. I wonder what's written behind here. And I wonder how old these children are. Okay. I might also wonder, is this a mother and a father? Is this a whole family? Are there any more? All right, so lots of things to consider when we are looking at things that might give us information. So today we looked at different ways to represent and interpret or make sense of data. And often when we receive data, we can make some statements and offer other questions, which we did with some unusual data sets. Okay, now what is our doing task? I think you're going to like this one because we have a questionnaire for you. So here are the questions we would like you to answer so you can collect some data about yourself. What is your name? What is your age in years? What month were you born? Where were you born? Do you have a brother or a sister? Do you live in the city or country? What is your favourite movie? What pet do you have or would you like to have? What is your favourite food? And where would you like to go for a holiday? We've got 10 questions for you. You actually might like to add some more questions or some more detail to this questionnaire. A survey about you. I hope you enjoy doing that. Pop it in your learning book and I will see you for lesson 65. Bye for now.